All right, so Lulu Shen is a deck that we had tried right after, it was the first deck we tried actually when the new set dropped. Lulu levels up very quickly with the support theme. Shen here gives things barriers, so this is a deck that, generally speaking, doesn't really level Shen that aggressively. So Shen levels when he sees 4+ barriers been placed, and he places a barrier, so he's self-enabling to a degree. But other than Shen, the only barrier card I'm playing in this list is Riposte. So Shen is mostly just another support mechanic that's good with our various challenger units. So we've got Fleet Feather Tracker, we've got Valor generated from Blinding Assault, we've got Laron Protege, so lots of good support units, challenger units to pair with our supports like Lulu, Shen, as well as War Chefs and Young Witch. This deck felt pretty powerful last time we were playing it. It also tends to run out of cards though, like it's kind of a deck where you just like kind of play your stuff out, and then even with drawing double cards in Runeterra compared to most other card games, this deck's very good at spending those cards because the curve of it tends to be pretty low, just a couple of things that are top end. So one thing I want to think about as we're playing here, I'm actually not certain that Shen is the ideal second champion for this deck. I think there's probably merit to exploring Zed as a more aggressive second champion, as well as exploring Fiora as a more controlling second champion to give you yet another challenger that'll pair well with our various support units. So something to think about as we play is, do we want one of those other cheaper champions as our secondary that offers utility in different ways? Oh yeah, Braidsteel Protector is technically barrier too. Good catch. Z-Corp Zombie, thanks for the brand new Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome to Oglandia. Diana Nocturne. So definitely an aggressive shell here. Fleet Feather Tracker into Braidsteel Protector sounds great. I'm gonna mulligan these two, looking for a 3 and a 4. Oh yeah, that's true. Help picks his barriers too. We got more barriers than I thought. Let's add a Shadow Isles deck of your choice at the end today. Sounds great, Dr. Mister. I appreciate it. Not trading my 2-1 for their 2-1 here, especially when I have Lulu in hand, so just gonna go ahead and pass. We'll take 2, we'll play War Chefs. So Lulu again, very good with our challengers because she makes things 4/4s. Grasp, rude. So I don't think I want to trade this here. I'm gonna go ahead and attack with this and see if they want to jump. Thank you for your absurd support, Dr. Mister. I don't know what Shadow Isles deck I want to play at the end yet. I'll have to think about it. Watch lots of YouTube content for both this and Magic. It's great to catch you live and show some support. I appreciate you dropping that off. I wouldn't be able to be here making stuff if it wasn't for folks like you. What's the best way to get build decks in this game? Are there cheap starter decks? So for starters, obviously cheap is relative, but like compared to like other card games, most decks in this game are cheap. Like building, assuming you have no cards, building a new deck in this game generally costs about 20 bucks.
Strength and grace, beauty in the play.
Generally speaking, if you're looking to free to play, get extra cards, the best recommendation is making sure you're leveling all your regions up in the region tracks. Alright, so 5 mana total. Flower Child's a good pickup. Let's go ahead and Braidsteel Protector, give Fleet Feather Barrier here and eat these. We're a little bit low here, and the opponent's archetype has like Nocturne's like pseudo reach. I don't normally brew on stream. Yeah, but I had someone donate for a generic Shadow Isles deck, and I'm not sure exactly what I want to play. So we might build Shadow Isles stuff in stream here in a second. Okay, so with that play, Huh, I can Relentless Pursuit this turn.
Feel the sizzle! Hardly fair.
Steal it.
No one goes hungry.
Hide no longer.
With that, I think I just Ranger's Resolve, right? Because Ranger Resolve will mean this lives and this lives. Yeah, I think I'd ideally like to not play a control deck, though. Like, I think I'd like something mid-rangey or aggressive. Playing control decks in tournaments tends to be a bit of a drag. Makes it take a while. Yeah, I think I'd like to work on a Diana-less Nocturne build, honestly, Innuendo. I think Nocturne's a really sweet card. Yeah, I'm already using Freljord, though. In the no overlapping factions is killing me. And trying in terms of, like, meeting the strict requirements I've set up for myself. Raymundros, thanks for the 20 months. Welcome back. Yeah, you could definitely just play Nocturne with Spiders. What do I want to do this turn? I could, like, War Chefs plus Rally. That's, like, probably lethal, right? I think I'm going to start with Relentless Pursuit, just in case Nocturne's their last card. How do you feel about the Deep? I'm already using Bilgewater.
Night descends. Face your heretic.
Smell that? A fight's a-cooking.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Restricting champions instead of regions could have been interesting.
Daylight fades and dusk soothes. As the moon rises, quiet reflection begins.
Can't fight on an empty stomach.
I know your true heart.
What are the chances we eventually see a Hooglandia Runeterra open? High, assuming MTG Melee adds a Runeterra Melee site. Yeah, Mistwraith deck could be sweet. Dude Light put a couple of Mistwraith decks in the queue that I'm actually looking forward to getting to. We'll get to them. We'll get to them before the event. Thud.
Their pride will cost them.
So these have the scout mechanic, so if I attack with both of these to start, I get another combat step.
Feel the sizzle! Eat up, friend!
Is there a reason they didn't just print Valor on its own card just too good? So, Valor being a spell actually makes it better in some ways. Like, obviously it's worse in that you can respond to it, but the fact that it's a unit you can cast off of spell mana gives it strengths in a certain way. Karma Ezreal. I think I keep Ranger's Resolve in the control matchup as a trick. Drawing single combat here is real medium. I have no idea, Demente Loco. I kind of feel like after seeing my struggle, after personally experiencing my struggle to find a third deck that I enjoy, I feel like my preferred format for a Runeterra tournament would probably just be 2 decks with no bans. I think is what my gut would say I would do offhand. And obviously maybe my experience will change after I play in this event. But I think doing 2 decks also is a lower collection / dollar requirement on people that want to play, which also makes a 2 deck format more appealing. I'm not playing the event. I'm playing it isn't for like 2 weeks, Waffle, or a week and a half. It's not the thing this weekend. The thing this weekend qualifies people to play in the event that I'm playing in. Lulu has a small bug that she heals things in a way that she's not supposed to heal sometimes. Riota says they will not use bans. I think that makes sense. I think the you get to ban something format's a bit of a feel bad because you like might literally never get to play with the deck that you bring. Yeah, I agree. I think 2 decks, no overlapping regions in a game that has 8 regions is probably good. It gives people a lot of variety. I feel like it was really easy for me to pick 2 decks without overlapping regions that I really enjoy. It was not really easy. It's not proving easy for me to find 3.
So I go.
Morning. Afternoon insane. Almost said morning.
Where there is life, there is hope.
I think even once they add all the region pairs, I think 3 decks is a bit much. It's also, like, every deck you add adds financial commitment and complexity for the people that are interested in playing, which isn't great. Do I want to rally? No, I don't think so. I think I want to rally when I have more things in play. I kind of think I just want to end step Elmheart and lose her trigger. And then we'll attack next turn and maybe rally next turn. I think it's harder to climb rank in this game or Magic Arena. I think this game has way less variance than Magic. Is my response to that. Agreed. It does heal Shen. That's true.
Honor
Not just fully lost.
action.
So Shen grants a barrier here.
I see every move.
That's fine. This is another Shen, right?
My heart longs for the poetry.
You will not live long.
Well, I was gonna say we're super far ahead here, but double 3-2s change that.
The fate of mortals and spirits falls to me.
Nah, I think that's nonsense, innuendo. I think you're right that adding a third deck is skill testing in the same way that best of 5 is technically more skill testing than best of 3, but I think there's a real argument about good and bad ways to test skill of your players, and I think that 3 decks is probably on the low side of a good way to do that. I also, like I said, I think there's a huge feel bad in the context of you're expecting players to potentially submit decks that they're never going to play with. I think it's a real consideration / concern. I think the emotional perspective of it isn't stellar. Alright, so I get to do this, and then I get to open on attacks next turn. I was kind of hoping to hit something we could play, so we could have even better open attacks, but that's fine.
Enforced equilibrium.
I think I want to barrier this so they can't kill my 5 with a damage spell. There's somewhat appeal to supporting this to give it more attack, but I think this is ideal since it's on 1 life. We could get stunned out of combat here, though, if they have a couple stuns. That being said, they already played 2. Yeah, we're ahead, but this game isn't over. So, dead. Very close. This is... I think there's a good chance that the Lulu Demacia deck ends up being the 3rd deck I pick, just because I'd really like 3 aggressive decks. I don't know, we'll see. I'm definitely gonna explore Shadow Isle things. I'm gonna try. I think we're gonna try and build Nocturne without Target as the last deck we're gonna play today. People just like that's true too. If I bring this archetype as one of my 3 decks, the other decks are less established decks, so there's a good chance that this deck would be the one that gets banned. So that I could play the other 2 decks that I like more consistently. I think I'm only getting that, so I'll keep 1, 2. We'll look for a 3. Single combat's not super good against either of these champions, at least not early. Hey, look at that. I'm already using Freljord King Koopa. That's the 5-head play for sure. Yeah, just like 2 brews I like, and then a tier 1 deck that I can stomach. So they most often ban the tier 1 deck.
My faith protects me.
We made it, Rim! I want to go home.
I want to go home.
Scorching light.
Ooh, that's a great draw.
Smell that? A fight's a cooking.
Is it adventure time, you guys?
Please, no.
What do you say, Flo?
Please, no.
Yes!
Sunlight guide you, my brethren.
BT dubs, I mentioned this earlier, but good to mention again. Starting next week, my wife goes back to work. She's been on paternity leave since our our youngest daughter, our new one, was born. And when she does go back to work, I'm going to be scaling back the number of hours I'm streaming a bit. But at this current point in time, I'm planning to scale back my magic hours and not my Runeterra hours, so that won't really impact people who are here watching this content too much. So it will change. I still plan to go live at the same time though, so it'll shift up when my Runeterra segments start. I think my plan is to do 1 magic deck and 2 Runeterra decks per day. Yeah, I mean, we're about to be, if we win this match, we're 3-0 with this deck, right? So like, this archetype's very good. It just like mostly just mows people down. Yeah, I'll pick up how much magic I'm doing a little bit when their next set drops. But doing a little bit less while we wait for that set to drop sounds appealing. Lot of permutations here on how we order our attackers inside of combat. I think I want to put them like this, so we get to eat this here, and then we get the extra damage guaranteed on the elusive. Want to support the flower child with something too, so that way it gets its extra attack permanently.
I know these paths well.
Feel like I pick right. There's a lot of permutations with how combat can work in this game. I'm gonna blinding assault now just so I don't lose my mana. Yeah, I agree, Decandio. The fact that combat order matters in this game makes it feel like they packed more decision into combat than Magic has while limiting the board, which is really sweet. Excuse me? We'll poop. Alright, we get to save one of them at least. Oh, I get to save 2, right? So these go away. Nah, it's fine. Yes, correct. Yeah, it's more depth. It's more depth without adding a bunch of complexity. It's good. Yeah, it's a great way to put it. All right, then we get to open on attacks here. So could play Lulu and attack with her, but definitely just prefer getting in here and trying to kill them. Again, if I start the turn by attacking, they can't play slow spells or units before they get hit here, so they're just dead. Dynamic. Dynamic's a good word, yeah.
You fought with honor.
Behold looks at board or hand, yep. Which if you notice, when I moused over the eye there, it showed, it didn't show what was gonna die, because I theoretically didn't know they had another Celestial. Which, I actually think that's something that maybe they could track or show in Runeterra. Like, you could technically be tracking which cards in your opponent's hands are Celestials they generated. Like, obviously not which specific card, but putting, like, some type of hue over ones that are invoked could be useful. So, Swain, Yasuo, something mid-range control-y. Definitely want a mulligan for a better curve here. I'm going to keep Lulu as a 3-drop and send the rest of these back. Not the ones and twos we're looking for. Alright, we might salvage it yet. Two drop. It's fine, we'll make some spell mana here. Time to drop our curve. I'm actually playing a slightly lower curve than some of the other people that were playing this archetype were. I've only got 2 6-drops at the top end. Yeah, Lulu Terra hasn't felt interactive enough for me. I really like that the Demacia cards in here let you kind of control the board with the challenger units pretty nicely.
2 worlds, 1 balance.
Think they should also show ephemeral and barrier effects in the opponent's hand? Yeah, probably. Things like, I think anything that you could be manually tracking, the game should track for you. Like anything I could manually be tracking with a pencil and paper, the game should make me not do that work myself. If I could be writing it down or mentally keeping track of it, save me the mental energy. One thing Arena actually does really well is Arena puts a little eye on the cards in your hand that your opponent has seen as well. Something like that would be good for Runeterra also, for sure. Death's Hand on Lulu's not a big deal. This is a Lulu's Whimsy, so we've got a follow-up copy of her here.
The balance will decide your fate.
It can try.
Yasuo's a little scary. I think I'm going Lulu, Flower Child here since I drew another one of those. And then, like, we'll open on Swiftwing next turn. 600 hours of Hex. Yeah, I mean, I streamed mostly Hex for a long time. In fact, as a fun fact, the reason why I'm sure there's a lot of reasons at this point, but the reason why I was initially put on the blacklist as a Wizards of the Coast content creator was because I wrote a scathing article about Magic the Gathering Online, but in addition to writing that article, I also stopped playing it and started streaming Hex, one of their direct competitors. Because there were lots of people that were rightfully critical of Magic Online, but most of the people who were being critical of Magic Online didn't also put their money where their mouth was and stop playing it. No, like there's an actual list of creators that Wizards of the Coast doesn't work with, and I know for a fact that I'm on it. So Flower Child goes up to a 6/4 here. These are like theoretically trading, but they probably have either another Concussive Palm or they have a Tempest for 2 mana. Yeah, I think I rush here to get this quick attack in, I think is appealing. That way I eat this and this survives. We are pushing some okay damage regardless, even if they save Yasuo here. I'm getting in a chunk for 9 at least. If they have double Steel Tempest, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I'm expecting 1 stun on my Lancer here. Oh, we're going to get double Tempest. Yeah, this is... I don't know that we can win from here. We're getting in a hit, but like they're saving both of their things now. No, yeah. I mean, like, what is playing around double steel Tempest even look like?
Fast strike.
It's not something we really, it's not something that can really be done. I think we just play our barrier out here now, right?
You're covered.
Duty, selflessness, heavy burdens.
I mean, we're in an okay spot here. This is 1 away from leveling. 1 stun or recall. They passed. Do I just end the round and then open attacks? I think we end the round and then open attacks, right? So Lulu levels, turns us into a 7-5. This gets a barrier and gets bigger.
Rarely seen pics. She's super cute.
Resolve is okay. The problem here is, like, this is getting ready to level. So, like, it's gonna start hitting for 5. So it depends on how many stuns they have in hand.
Oh, it's on.
Your attack is obvious.
Lulu levels on her own support. She makes a 4-4, Dr. Mr. Putty. So that's why my ordering was actually important here, because Shen leveled Lulu, which allowed Lulu to make a 5-5. So it was important here that Shen came before Lulu, so we leveled her before she supported. Shen's dying, or Yasuo's dying. Okay, so, like, they're not dying this turn, but Yasuo's dying, so I think that's a win for me overall. We're gonna call that a win for the home team. I can't save either of my things, but, like, your board's gone. Glass half full.
Demons are easy, mister. Elefloops are hard.
Demons are easy, Alafloops are hard.
Oh my gosh. Go on, Rim.
He told me to say hello. Hello.
She told me to say hello. Hello. It's Pax. She's got her. So the other character talking in the Young Witch voice lines is the frog that she's got with the dagger in its hand.
Sacrifices must be made.
Alright. Yeah, this will probably be the third deck I pick.
Round again.
We're gonna try some SI decks. We're gonna try Nocturne after this. But in terms of power level, and honestly, like, I think the someone said the big brain play where, like, this will be like the only tiered deck in my lineup means it's most likely to get banned. Yeah, Challenger with Lulu is very, very powerful. Sure. I'm mulligan that. I've got 2 things to support the Fleet Feather Tracker, just looking for some other units. Yes, meta. So the structure for the tournament is each player brings 3 deck lists, and you ban one of your opponent's 3 deck lists, and then you have to win a game with each of your other 2. So you play best of 3 with your 2 remaining lists.
Be Demacia. A delicious challenge.
They're a Bilgewater deck. So I probably want to play around, make it rain. They can't have overlapping factions, Arazamil. So there's 8 factions, and you have to use 6 of them, basically. Which is why I've kind of been struggling to find a 3rd deck, because a lot of the decks I like in Runeterra right now play some mix of Freljord, Bilgewater, or Targaryen. I think if you asked me to pick my 3 favorite factions, those are definitely them. Bilgewater, Freljord, and Targaryen.
Can't fight on an empty stomach.
Eat some spiders here. That's kind of scary. Make it rain can kill my 2 toughness things with that.
Gotta go with the flow. Got your back. Through the coral.
So I think I just let this happen, and then I might just deploy another barrier here and then open attacks next turn. I think is my plan.
Feel the sizzle. Hardly fair. No one goes hungry.
Let's do this. How does the tournament work when each player wins a single game? Well, if each player's won 1 game, each player has 1 deck they still need to win a game with, so you play those decks against each other, Hangdren. Basically, once you win a game with your deck in a round, you can't play that deck again because you've already won with it. Yeah, it worked out pretty well. Look at that. I think we played around the Make It Rain nicely there. As nicely as we could, at least. If you had a draw yet? I don't believe so.
Lulu! Where'd she go?
Leave, Bob.
take this hit here. The question is, do I want to Genevieve? So Genevieve makes our things bigger when she comes into play. So do I want to get that trigger, or do I want to get her into play now so I can open attacks next turn? I think I want the trigger next turn.
Your time, you guys.
Please, no.
What do you say, Glow? That's a yes.
Sure.
Run.
With me.
So Elmheart and Valor both have Scout. So we'll start the turn by attacking with these two, and we'll hook the 2/2 and the 1/1 appropriately.
I'm always up for a round or two.
Unfortunate. That's pretty punishing for not using our mana to play her last turn. I guess the rest of these things are still bigger at least. We got that going for us. So I can hook their 1/1 Spider here, and then I can attack with these three and hook Twisted Fate at least. This is going to go up to a 5/4. Sure. This still seems like an okay turn for us, so I get to do this. And they can jump with their Spider, but they're taking 3 to 5. They have 2 cards left in hand. Obviously, with Swain and Twisted Fate, their average card quality is a little higher than ours, but we're definitely not just dead. If we rip another Elmheart or one of our big drops, we could be okay here. Rally's actually not terrible. Do you have a boat? I don't think we can beat a boat, right?
Like a fish in water. Wait, is that a familiar frog? Oh my gosh. Go on, Rib.
They told me to say hello. Hello.
They told me to say hello. Yeah, me too, Femboy. I'm usually a pretty generic wallpaper person, but the IP in this game definitely has me into it.
Taste the glory!
I think I block here and hope to not get Make It Rain. They did just draw a spell that costs 3 or less, which could be a Make It Rain. We get red carded too, I suppose, but I think I need to block here because it gives them 1 less blocker on my backswing. So looking to fade Twisted Fate number 2 and Make It Rain number 2. Go through 26 cards and just drew what Make It Rain could be, so I would not be surprised if this is a rain. Yeah, I agree with that, Waffle. Well, we're not getting Twisted Fated. flock, sure.
Morsel of regret.
They are obligated to chump block Flower Child, though, right?
I've whipped up something special.
So, the keg here is actually kind of okay for us, because I can force the keg to block the Young Witch, which means they can't eat it with Zap.
Friends, Glow.
So this fogs our rally, but not the end of the world. They've still got 2 cards left here, though, which is kind of scary. I can't beat stuff, so I'm just gonna hope whatever they have is a bad mix of leftovers.
You told me to say hello. Hello.
Deal me in. Who says I don't share?
Matchup seems hard. Rib is the name of Young Witch's frog. Ribbit? Misfortune Gangplank. So definitely an aggro mirror. I think I'm gonna mulligan these, looking for a support to pair with Fleet Feather Tracker here. Lit. You have 4 Zenith Blade in your Terran Expedition. Seems good.
I have my orders.
Trade these.
Explosives primed.
Smell that? A fight's a cooking.
Fights a cooking.
In position. Boom.
Taste the glory!
So these each deal a damage when they attack. Easy trades otherwise, though. Playing this out while this is at 1 against a Make It Rain decks are a little scary, so we'll just play Lulu instead.
I'm one of the good guys, but not that good.
3/3 means I can't attack in. Lulu will die.
Set sail. Love ya.
Fuses lit.
So we'll bank some spell mana here. We have to open on Swift Flame Tracker. I'm gonna go ahead and trade these off.
Done yet.
We've not supported anything at all so far. That's so sad.
Let's use all the colors.
Definitely want to support the one getting a temporary life bonus here. Sure. That, like, feels a little bit bad to lose our Lulu, but we're pretty far ahead on board here, which is great. I've got a decent hand left over as well.
Dead men tell my tale.
My shield is yours.
What's your thought on riposting the war chests against Misfortune to kill her? I never had an I'm not sure what point you're referring to, Joel. I don't think I ever had an opportunity to riposte. Oh, you mean attacking, blocking to trade with her? No, I don't think that's worthwhile. I think my riposte is worth more than that. We're using trading riposte plus trading 2-for-1 cards there is not good, in my opinion.
The wood can't fight
I
back.
think my Riposte is worth more than trading, like, Riposte plus a War Chefs for their thing.
Remember the objectives. The few for the many.
These woods belong to us.
Brush is so good with these scout challenger units. You just like get your freebies in twice basically because they have quick attack for the churn. I'm choosing to barrier my lowest toughness thing here in case they have damage-based removal.
Everything as it should be.
Everything as it should be. Lux, Leona. I think we mulligan everything but the Flower Child, looking for a 2-drop support for Flower Child. We're attacking on odds here, so any 2-drop or Lulu in our first 3 draws is good here.
Don't eat that! You're so hungry!
Get to just bang spell mana here, looks like. 2 or 3 drop. 2 or 3 drop. I guess that's better than missing, technically, somehow kind of way.
Guess we're going!
There's fear in their dojo, chat. They let fear in. They're scared. Can you smell it on them? Can you smell the fear? So now the problem is they're just gonna pass and burn our mana.
Devotion through battle.
Really, they're attacking? That's so good for us. Yeah, I was gonna say, they should just burn our mana.
A balance requires a watchful eye.
So this has to be supported specifically to get bigger. I think we're just like going Shen on here, hook this. Guess we'll wait and see what else they play out. The problem with the Riposte at this point is they have Hush mana up and they're in Targan.
Clad in shining sunlight.
I think I just bounce off of this if they block with it.
Heretic!
The Fox does match the F2K colors, doesn't it? The new pink and blue. So I've got 2 barriers rolled up here in my hand. So this could be a game where we level our Shen for sure.
We will not suffer unbelievers.
They will not escape punishment.
Wonder how long they're gonna play around Riposte for. Till they lose, hopefully. Yeah, maybe. Our resource have been super awkward this game. We've not been anywhere near resource efficient. We're like kind of at board parity, maybe a little bit behind.
Soldiers, lead!
You're covered.
Duty, selflessness, heavy burdens.
Courage, soldier!
Okay.
Burn away doubt.
So, like, we're still at 20, right?
Understood.
No closer.
So, I think I riposte this, and then single combat this, and then all of these will die, and these will bounce, and I'll take 5. I think that sounds like the plan. And then next turn, when Shen barriers, he'll level. We'll open on Elmheart with Resolva. 7 mana total here.
My strength
Potentially very good next turn. Potentially let us steal when they're not expecting us to be able to attack on their turn.
The dawn has arrived.
Carry her light across the mountain.
It's pretty unfortunate.
Behold the sun's holy light.
I find them unworthy.
So Shen's gonna turn into a 5/4, so I'm okay with Leona hopping in front of him.
They are under my protection.
So those 3 will die. They'll take 5 here.
My time has come.
Lulu's a great pickup here. Not quite ready to level, but she'll level when Shen supports something this turn. We'll get a decent attack. They're going to play something with Daylight and stun Elmheart. We're looking to fade Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Because if they Always Sunny, they can stun multiple things here. But if they can only stun one thing, we're going to be in a pretty good spot. Oh, she's not leveled yet. Oh, sick. Okay, so they have to have always stunny plus something else to even stun anything. I'm sorry, I'm just like used to this card just like passively being leveled. She levels so quickly. I'm not used to her like being like, this is turn 8, right? Like,
Everywhere I go, the light follows. Well, this isn't the glade.
so they only have 5 mana here, right? So they can't level Lux this turn? And remember, Rally works with Elmheart Scout. So if I rally here, I can Elmheart Scout kill this and then get another attack with everything else. Because the way Scout's worded, the first time only your Scouts attack, ready your attack token. In fact, maybe because of this interaction, I should open on Relentless Pursuit rather than opening on Lulu. So if I Rangers Resolve, I take 2 and 3, so he still dies, unfortunately.
Hold nothing back. Sun sets.
Let's see all the colors.
So if I sequence like this with Lulu, this effectively heals this, right? Is the way that works? Oh, I could do this in Ranger's Resolve. I don't hate that.
Go wake 'em up. Go on, Pix. Just like the Elefloop said.
So, like, I'm aware I'm not getting through Lux's barrier chat, but this way I'm keeping my board. And obviously, if I was going to do this, I should have Rangers Resolved when I hit Leona, so that way... Well, chat, I can't do that and pump the bird because then this would die.
It's Pix.
Okay, so this is the Lulu bug here. This went back to 5 life at full, and the devs confirmed that that's a bug, so this should be at 1 life here.
Get him, Pix.
These woods belong to us.
Buckwheat down. I've been hiding my light too long.
Oh, this levels Lux. Which means that we don't get to kill her. Awkward. They're gonna get to generate a bunch of final sparks with her next turn. By a bunch, I mean 1 to 2. What's the best deck? I don't think that's objectively been decided with the latest patch yet.
No more holding back.
Scouts has the highest win rate, but nobody's saying it's the best deck. I think that archetype's real good too. That's the Misfortune Quinn deck, right? That's the one Christy's been laddering with. Okay, so if they don't open on a way to kill Lulu, I can barrier Lulu with help picks. That's also decent. What did the Scouts deck get from the expansion? I think actual nothing.
Don't make me flamigify you.
Okay. So they played Living Legends here, which refills their mana and gives them a bunch of fleeting celestial cards. Did they get the one that obliterates stuff? They did. They definitely behold the celestial card, and that, it's really awkward that Living Legends doesn't give you a... It's super awkward that Living Legends doesn't give you a Final Spark with Lux, because it fills your hand with Celestials, then Lux can't trigger.
A beacon through the dark.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even just because people are climbing that it's hard to figure out the best deck. Like, there's also just, you know, a new set just dropped, and it takes a while to figure out the things that are a little bit more interesting. Things that aren't straightforward to build. Things like the Spiders deck and the Burn deck. And like the Nocturne deck. Those are pretty straightforward. Just build aggro decks and run people down. Like the good mid-range and control decks take some time. I think we're probably dead here. Opponent's gonna lose like 2 to 3 celestial cards in hand here, but their hand's super full and we're at empty. And that's this deck, and this is why I've like games like these last couple are ones why I would like to try and find something else that's not this to play for my third deck in my lineup. Because unlike a lot of the other aggro decks like the Twisted Fizz and the Diana Vi deck I've been playing, this deck's like mid to late game is like pretty mediocre. Like its early game is pretty unparalleled, but it just like doesn't do much past turn 5 to 6. I'm gonna be honest, Dark Rider. You mentioned like a sequence over 2 turns. I was like 8 turns earlier, so I have no fucking idea. We're way too far removed.
Gee. You're so hungry.
There's also like, you're also like describing plays, making assumptions that like, and this is one of the things why hindsight is tough. Like hindsight plays, generally speaking, make the assumption that your opponent's plays are the same, and frequently your opponent's plays are going to be different when your plays are different, especially in a game that has as many dynamic choices as Runeterra. So like, assuming my opponent does everything exactly the same, and I do that different, that might work out, but like on average, they're not going to do everything exactly the same.
Come on, Rib.
I think I hooked the one that's fearsome here. Well, so like, and there's a real trade-off, don't troll me, right? Like, a card that I've played in these Shen decks before is Bright Steel Formation, for instance. And you're right, like, when you make it to 8 and 9 mana, your Bright Steel Formation is really good, or your Judgment is really good, but like, you're also, this isn't a deck that's looking to make it to 9 mana. You don't want the game to last to get to that point.
Eye of Twilight sees all.
Like, if you're interested in playing a deck that's looking to get to that point, you're probably interested in just playing something else. That's a Swole Squirrel. It's a Lulu. Huh. So we can Fleet Feather, Lulu, and then single combat too. Lulu can make this a 4/4. And then this can make this a... Oh, we can actually level Lulu, right? Because I've supported twice, so if I put Lulu at the end of my support chain...
Whoa, meet Lulu.
She can make this a 5/5, so it survives eating Swole Squirrel.
Lick your petals.
Iceman, thanks for the 16 months. Yeah, I mean, you can bank spell mana for a card like Judgment, but if this deck is running close to average, you also generally don't have spell mana. Stun an enemy, give allies 2 attack this round. Interesting.
This way. Go.
Think we just attack with this. Just to have somewhere to be.
You fought with honor.
Good morning. Good afternoon, Teddy. Here, play one more with Lulu Shen, and we'll try and work on something with Nocturne. See if we can make him work without Jargon. Fiora Tarek. So definitely super into Fleet Feather into Young Witch. Think I'm gonna mulligan these two, looking for 3/4s to fill out my curve. Other 2s and 3s sound good too. Yeah, Nocturne's a really sweet champion. I'm just using Diana in one of my other decks, so I can't use Nocturne.
These will protect you.
I can't use Targon with Nocturne. Lulu's the strongest out of the new set. I don't know if I agree with that. I think Lulu's the most linear champion out of the new set.
You're covered.
Let's barrier this. I think keeping this alive is valuable, especially with the Young Witch rolled up here. Yeah, Mistwraith's on my list to play. To give it a try. We've got a couple of Mistwraith builds in the queue.
I wanna go home.
I wanna go home. Poor Ribbit. Get some quick attack going on.
Looking into the future, I see
Purple?
It's a kind of scary one.
Is it adventure time, you guys? What do you say, Flo? That's yes!
That's a big in.
It's new. Sorry.
6/6. 6/6 is a tough nut to crack. Fury means it gets bigger every time it kills something, too.
Who does not know the name Laurent?
My shield is yours.
So I think I'm barriering this and then like single combating inside of combat here. Like if I do this, those trade. They get like hushed and then concede. I need to take this opportunity to try and get the 6/6 off the board. The number of things that make this this play go sideways, but I feel like I've got to risk it to get their threat out. Yeah, single combat also does it. They could have also just like single combated this against something else, like my 1/1 here. No, I guess that doesn't work, so it would still have 6 toughness. He'll just never level. I mean, he's pretty okay without leveling. I think this deck is fine. I think it's very powerful. I think if you mulligan and you play your cards on curve, it's very good. A kind of like indictment of this deck that I have is that it feels like a Magic deck in a lot of ways. Like, and that's one of the reasons why it hasn't really clicked for me in the games where I've played it more. Like, it's definitely the important thing to do with this deck is mulligan and then play your cards on curve. And it doesn't feel like it really does any of the sweet, awesome things that Runeterra decks do that are sweet and awesome. And I don't find its gameplay particularly compelling personally. I think if you're looking for a good aggro deck to try and run up the ladder with, I think this archetype's a good choice for that. But for my personal standpoint, it's not one that I've super enjoyed playing. Silarus, thank you for the 23 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I think that's actually a big part of it. This deck is so dependent on curving out like 1, 2, 3, 4 with units in the early game, not getting to leverage the spell mana. It takes away a lot of the interesting sequencing and decision choices that you have in Runeterra. What's my favorite aggro deck at the moment? Twisted Fizz or Diana Vi are the two aggro decks that I'm going to be playing. Violent Gems and Twisted Fizz are the two that I'm going to be bringing for sure. All right, I'm going to hit a quick ad roll. I'm not even going to hit an ad roll. We're just going to build something, right? I don't